Nuclear launch detected, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to what appears to be a black screen. And you might be wondering, wait, Nuke, why did you clickbait us with the shitty title and a crappy thumbnail? Well, the answer is pretty simple. I just wanted to see how far I can go with just a shitty thumbnail and a crappy clickbait title in this day and age of Fortnite videos being so popular. But just for you guys to not feel completely jebaited here, I suppose here's some shitty Fortnite gameplay, and I suppose here's a ninja. And now to the actual topic of this video, the top 10 Witchwood cards. And starting the list off again is a hunter spell called Dire Frenzy, and for 4 mana it gives a beast +3/+3, and it also shuffles 3 copies into your deck that retain the buff. And in my opinion, this card is great for most hunter decks since it provides the great immediate pressure with the 3/3 buff, given of course you have a minion in play, which, let's be real, is not that hard if you're a hunter player. It also gives you a decent late game option, put even on the smallest of minions, and even though it lacks the body of the Houndmaster, it makes it up with the bigger buff and the extra minions down the line. And I guess the only problem I see with this card is that Hunter isn't really that good at drawing cards, so this might hinder this card's on paper raw strength, but I'm pretty sure that Hunters will find a way to abuse this. After that, we have the Priest Legendary Lady in White, and she's a 6 mana 5/5 minion with an insane battle cry that reads Cast Inner Fire on every minion in your deck, and obviously an incredibly strong effect on paper which synergizes with most Priest minions. This card has an insane potential to be one of the most busted cards in this set, as long as someone figures out the correct list with the most value minions, but that's not that hard because you can just put any high health minions in your set. I guess the only downside to this card is the fact that it is a battle cry and you have to draw her in time, because if you don't draw her in time and she's the last card in your deck, you're gonna have a bad time. But at least when you draw her, she makes those Mogushan Wardens and those unpowered Steam bots really juicy. Next up, we have not one, but 2 wacky cards. The first one being the Rogue Legendary Tess Greymane, and the other one being the Shaman Legendary, the Shudderwalk. And as you can see, on first glance, they're quite similar. Obviously, Tess replaying every card from another class you have played this game, and the Shudderwalk replaying all your battle cries. And when Tess seems to be a little bit more on the meme side of things, the Shudderwalk might actually break through the memes and become an insane card thanks to the plentiful good battle cries available for shamans, while Tess could very well be useless in a rogue mirror matchup. The Shudderwalk might in fact be most at home in elemental decks in my opinion, thanks to the many offensive battle cries such as Flame Elemental and Blaze Caller, with the potential of OTKs with Grumble the World Shaker, or you can just meme to the max with unlimited Shudderwalks with cards like Zolan, the new 2 mana 2/2 dude who shuffles copies of minions in your deck. Next up, we have another legendary, this time for Warlocks. It's Lord Godfrey, who's a 7 mana 4/4 with a battle cry. Deal 2 damage to all other minions. If any die, repeat this battle cry. And he's on the list just because we know how strong Defile is currently. And not only that, but he does twice as much damage and leaves a 4/4 body after that. And thanks to the 2 damage, it's not gonna be that hard to set him up for a complete board wipe, even versus the biggest of boards. But yeah, it's not like Warlocks were lacking any AoE spells, right? But hey, now they have another minion. Because I suppose with the rotation of Abyssal Enforcer, Warlock was gonna take a huge hit in popularity, right? And after him we've got the famed Worgen Darius Crowley, who is a 5 mana 4/4 warrior legendary with rush, and also after this attacks and kills a minion, gain +2/+2. And on the surface he might not look like anything special, but as other cards have proven, you don't need to be flashy to be good. Darius definitely isn't very flashy, but even though he lacks the higher health of most other rush minions, he does have the potential of snowballing hard if left unchecked for a couple of turns, and he also benefits from the fact that he's an odd cost card and can be played with Baku the MU Leader in the speculated odd quest warrior with a bunch of taunts and maybe rush minions and the upgraded hero power to survive the early game. So Mr. Crowley might not be the coolest card around, but it might just become a staple in all warrior decks to come. And speaking of him, the next card on our list is Baku the MU Leader, one of the heavy hitters of this expansion. He's a 9-man. Whoa, wait a minute. No one cares about the stats of this minion. It's only the effect that matters, right? And the effect is at the start of your game, if your deck contains only odd cost cards, upgrade your hero power, which is an insane effect, and in my opinion is way better than again Greymane's effect, because I would much rather have an upgraded hero power than having my basic one cost 1. Plus the fact that with all the new cards it appears it's easier to make a good odd cost deck because most of the powerful cards are odd costed. But the best thing about this card is obviously the fact that you get the benefit from it at the start of the game, and you don't need to play or draw it for him to impact the game. Not that you would want to play him obviously, because stat wise he's a bit shit, but no doubt he's gonna define some classes in this new standard rotation. And next up on the list we got the card that does it all, the Nightmare Amalgam, who's a 3-mana 3/3 everything. He's every single tribe in the game, and he's on my list just because I think it might help all tribal decks a lot just to have a solid, decent static minion they can rely on to curve out or to help with synergies. And hell if this guy is not good at synergizing with tribal cards. So good in fact, we might see some cross tribal decks appear, like maybe Beast Murloc, Dragon Pirate, just because of this card. And unfortunately the only problem with this card is that it's on the menu of all the crabs in the game. And after that, we've got one of the more interesting cards of the set, the Voodoo Doll. That's a 3-mana 1/1 with a battle cry, choose a minion, and a death rattle, destroy the chosen minion. And in my opinion, this card can help some classes that don't have much single target removal, like let's say Druid or Paladin Rise Up, but it can also be used in all sorts of control decks just as an easy removal, especially in classes with already plenty of removal options, like Mage, they can ping the Voodoo Doll, or Warlock, they can just Mortal Coil it and also draw a card. The cheap mana cost and the low health make it very easy to squeeze in at all stages of the game, and because of that it creates many options for removing large minions. Up next we have the sleeper card of the set, in my opinion, the Marsh Drake. That's a 3-mana 5/4 dragon with a battle cry, summon a 2/1 poisonous Drake Slayer for your opponent. And frankly, let's be real, it's pretty easy to set up the 1 damage ping to clear the Drake Slayer when he pops up, and then you got a clean 3-mana 5/4, which is obviously pretty crazy. Obviously the easiest class to set that up is Rogue, thanks to the dagger hero power onto, then you just play the Drake and smash the 2/1 for free. This card has so much potential, I think that it might bring up the Khalisat Temple Rogue deck back from the dead, just like how Corridor Creeper did when Kobolds and Catacombs launched last year. And just like the Creeper, this might need a nerf later down the road. And since it's a dragon, it might help up with that Dragon Hunter deck that Blizzard has been trying to set up with some of the new cards. And for the last card we have the Knightscale Matriarch, the 7-mana 4/9 priest dragon with an effect that reads whenever a friendly minion is healed, summon a 3/3 well. Not really sure if this card can break constructed dragon priest decks like Draconid Operative did back in Mean Streets of Gadgetzan, but it sure as hell is an incredibly strong card on paper and definitely in arena, with its super high health on 7 making it really hard to remove, and its potential for spawning 3/3s as soon as it hits the board thanks to cheap heals like Circle of Healing. Not to mention it synergizes very well with the Lady in White legendary, making it even stronger thanks to 9 attack. Maybe this card is so good you don't even need to play other dragons, you just play her for the raw stats and effect. And those are all the cards I think are gonna break the game. Sorry for the stupid title and the crappy thumbnail, but I really wanted to get onto that sweet Fortnite views. Hopefully you didn't mind it. It was just a funny experiment trying to see if it really works. And hopefully you liked this video, and I will see you guys next time.
Cabeça. Един супер малко. Типа на мен е. Не. Ама супер малко кара. Някъде имаше медкит. Чай ти го седи. Аз го взех. Да. Това съм намерих. Аз съм нет. Колко кило имаме? Не видя скарбе. А! Гном!
Това е тук през хълмовете?
Но той експозваш в момента.
Да, използвам се. Как там?
Опа, отстрани, отляво.